Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Only Run Very Noob, bringing you Guardian gameplay using the Talistar client. Today we're playing Victor, and we are playing against Kayo. I do believe Kayo will be a very popular deck in the upcoming meta. These lists are getting refined and they're getting incredibly strong. They just have a ton of numbers, and that's kind of what they do. Flesh and Blood sort of has a rich history of big number decks being pretty good, and the best number deck is generally one of the top decks just by the nature of how this game plays out. And I feel like KO is definitely in the running to be that best numbers or aggro deck. It even has a couple of annoying on hits with like Command and Conquer and Send Packing, but it's mainly just raw, efficient damage. My sideboard plan against KO is to take out defense reactions and 2 blocks. I play 63 cards. Even with only 30 blues, I find this to be reasonable because a lot of our turns involve blocking out and kind of shooting our shots when we can. I think the days of just blocking KO out and fatiguing them have already passed, even though the set doesn't even come out until tomorrow. I think people have really discovered how to go over the top. Even if they're not running Berserk, they can do stuff like cast Bones, and they can also utilize their one arm to swing Claw over and over and over and over again, not expending cards from their deck, but basically hitting us with a Searing Emberblade. The equipment I bring is all the block equipment, plus the shield. I would prefer Titan's Fist in this matchup, I believe, over Miller's Grindstone, but we're not giving up the sideboard slot for that, so we are just on Miller's Grindstone. If we're ever swinging weapon into KO, we are fully expecting to lose our clash. Now, we might be winning clashes more than we lose them, but we're probably losing them close to 40%. Or 35 to 40%, and winning them about the same with whatever stray percentage is left there going to ties. Ties, of course, are fine. I would almost consider a tie with Grindstone to be a win, because while milling a card is good, really it's the downside we're trying to avoid more than generate the upside that the card does. Although sometimes it's pretty nice. Sometimes they reveal like Bloodrush Bellow and you get a ton of value by hitting with Miller's Grindstone. But I wouldn't recommend that being like a core part of your plan. All of our disruption that we have is fairly good into KO. I found that might be KO's weakness, is just disruption. Spinal Crush is good against them. It either forces them to roll scabs, or it forces them to like block and only send 6 back at you, which is totally fine. Choke Slam is pretty good against Bear Fangs and Bloodrush Bellow, and also all the Might tokens they generate. And then Debilitate is just like value. They're attacking you every turn, so it's almost always going to be 10 value. I guess I should talk a little bit about the block cards. I include the block cards. They're not very consistent in this matchup, but I do think that you need the power of binking them about 35 to 40% of the time and drawing a card, at least on Test of Strength. Trounce is probably a lot less often that you're winning. But with Test of Strength, you can win, and I think that just gives you a lot of sort of muscle in the matchup. Even when you're tying with Test of Strength, it's like a 4 block, so it's fine. With this hand, I think I'm just going to make a Surge and send Choke Slam, trying to fatigue them a few cards. We see that they're running 66 cards. We're only on 63. And then I'm going to Arsenal this Spinal. I feel like the Choke Slam is going to still get 3-card block out of them. The same thing as the Spinal, and the Spinal will be more impactful on an actual turn. So we're just going to tuck that Spinal in Arsenal and try to find a spot to throw it at them. They block with Beast Within and Bloodrush Bellow. I would say those are two of like sort of their strong cards. Like Blood Rush Bell is definitely very strong, and Beast Within gives them a bunch of value on like a go wide turn. They had another Blood Rush Bellow, so maybe that's why they blocked with Blood Rush Bellow, is because they didn't want to like pitch it or accidentally discard it. Not too sure. Maybe they drew into it. But either way, two of their Blood Rush Bellows are already gone, so that seems pretty good for me. And I will just give him Balance of Justice. Again, we're not really trying to block on hits. We can keep 6 block with our shield, our gloves, and our chest to stop a CNC. And outside of that, they don't really have on hits. And I might want to draw a card with Balance of Justice this turn. Because if I get to keep 2 cards, I can throw the Spinal Crush. Even if I decide to block before I crack my Balance of Justice, even if I draw a red because I have Surge, I can block with Spinal. And I don't think I want to block crack Balance of Justice right here, because we can only block with 1 card, and if they just sort of Arsenal pass, we don't need to crack our Balance of Justice here. We can save it for their last Blood Rush Bellow, and then just like make a Surge and throw Spinal. And that is exactly what happens. They only had 1 floating, so I'm not really sure what they could have played. They're not like Levia, where they have like 1 for 6s that don't require discard. I think all of their 1 for 6s sort of require a discard. I suppose they could have played a Cast Bones, but that wouldn't have like let us block, right? So we probably wouldn't have wanted to pop our helmet here. Of course, they give us 2 cards. They could give us like 1 cards and a bunch of armor if they want, or even like all their armor. But they just give us 2 cards and sort of concede that they're going to have a pretty medium turn here. I'm going to block like this because this CNC is for 7 because I had the Might, so I'm not even losing a point on Test of Strength, and because of Surge I can still just throw a Debilitate after blocking like this. Definitely not breaking my shield to reclash. I'm only revealing a 6. And it was only a tie, so it's not even like they get the gold. Not that gold is like super good into KO. I wouldn't be too scared about giving them a gold. It's the trounces you lose that would be very scary, and like the Clash of Mights and Vigors are actually better than the gold for them, I think. As you can see though, I'm not really blocking out as much damage as I could. On their Blood Rush Bellow turn, I could have blocked. No, maybe I did block as much as I could because I used my Balance of Justice. Never mind. But in this matchup lately, I've been trying to threaten their life total with like cards that I actually play instead of just blocking out, because I do feel like the more efficient KO decks these days, with players that have played the deck for, you know, a couple weeks now, aren't really losing to you just blocking 12 a turn. Zealous Belting is interesting. I think you see it sometimes out of KO because their hero power definitely makes it easier to play, but I'm not too sure it's like great for KO to be Zealous Belting you. I think I should have blocked with Disable here to keep the Golden Sun in my deck for late game, but maybe having the Surge off the Disable is better if I want to throw Command and Conquer here. And as you see, I don't block 3 here. I just take 3 because they don't have Go again. They're going to have an Arsenal, and I'd rather Command and Conquer them. So we are employing more of a mid-range strategy rather than like a fully defensive one. And we do get them blocking with 2 cards. E-Strike is another card I don't think you see all the time out of KO, but it sort of makes sense because it is a 6. So what do I want to do here? They're just sending Swing Big. We could do something like block 6 or 7 plus armor to get like a Quicken, and then like E-Strike, draw a card off the Quicken. But I'm not sure that's too good because the Miller's Grindstone follow-up isn't like great. I sort of just like blocking with Test of Strength and Thunderquake. I'd rather have Thunderquake in the deck, but I don't think I want to lose a Clash of Vigor against them. Especially with them having Tunic, I don't think I want to just give them 2 free resources. And then our plan would be to let's swing big hit for 1 and then just like E-strike them for 7. I think I like that play, although if I want to be greedier, I can block with Clash of Vigor, but it doesn't even really help our turn a ton. It just sort of like lets us float the Surge. It looks like I'm doing even less here. It looks like I'm just gonna block 4. No, I'm thinking about it. I end up giving the Clash of Vigor, which I think might be a mistake. We lose both clashes. Yes, we'll have a Thunderquake in our deck super late, but I'm not sure that's going to be as relevant as giving them like a Vigor here. There's going to be no way around giving them a gold if we lose the clash, but we could have just not given them a free resource. And the Surge I would have been able to float, I don't think would have been like as high a value for us as the Vigor could be for them. So that was probably a slight mistake there. They're blocking with a Cast Bones. I don't hate to see that. That's a card that definitely allows them to go over the top if we do start blocking a bunch, which can happen even though it's not the real plan. Sometimes you know, if blocking makes it so you don't die, that's sort of what you gotta do. And here we see the red Debilitate, which the Surge from the Vigor might have been nice, so I guess we're gonna try again with this Clash of Vigor to try to like hit something good, get a Vigor so we can block 3 again this turn and then throw Debilitate. But no, they reveal a 6, the same as us, and we give them yet another Vigor here. But this way we sort of can decide to just block. I think I do just block Runner for 6 and then we send Hammer. We know we have a 6 on top, so we're really just hoping to tie here. I guess there's a slight chance we win, but we've already seen 2 Bloodrush Bellows and a Cast Bones. So something tells me they only have like 3 cards in their whole deck that could lose. And we end up tying, which is fine with me. That's a win with Grindstone, as I mentioned earlier during sideboarding. Wild Ride, discarding a Beast Within. So this is a turn we're probably just going to end up blocking 12. Interesting that I block with just the Trounce here. Although if I wanted to, we could probably find a way to block with our last 3 cards because they're full hand. If they don't have any more, if they have Go Again, of course they're going to throw like 6 into 6. But even if they don't have Go Again, just Claw into 6 will give us all the opportunities to block that we need to get full block value out of our hand. And if we hit that Trounce, maybe there's something we could reevaluate. I think this game is sort of at parity right now. Like, yes, they have a 4-card hand with an Agility and a Might, and they're sending it in. But we have a ton of armor still, so I don't like hate my spot. It's not like winning, I don't think, right now, but it's definitely like still an even game, I would say. We go ahead and crack their gold. So yeah, I guess I should have talked about this hand. It's just another hand I want to block with. Hopefully winning the Clash of Might, we won't be able to use it because we won't have any cards to attack with, but hopefully they don't get like the free point. But they popped the gold, so maybe they're like looking for resources here because they pitched a red. Maybe they had 2 reds in hand. Okay, so there's their 3rd Blood Rush Bellow, which is a little annoying because we probably won't be able to turn on our Balance of Justice this game, but I don't think it would have gotten a ton of value when we had an opportunity to use it. Like, we would have had to draw a card that we want in Arsenal. And between the block cards and all like the blues, there's probably a high chance that we wouldn't have hit. They just passed the turn after that claw. So I am going to send in Grindstone. I'm not arsenaling the Clashomite, and even 4 damage I think is fine. Yeah, we get a -1 counter on our hammer here, but whatever. You know, you can't win them all. In fact, in this game, I believe we've lost them all. I'm just going to block with Trounce. See if we can manage a win and draw a card we actually want to cast. Okay, so no, we tie. That's fine. We knew they had to swing big, but we have some 10s in the deck. And I wasn't going to not block with Trounce. So might as well get it out of the way early, get some more information. They're shooting us for a bunch, and I think we're just going to block 9. I'm not saving a card to Grindstone for 3. We do have an 8 on top though, so maybe our Grindstone would hit, but also they can just block with a card if they don't want to get a card milled. I guess I should talk a little bit more about that because my last card only did block for 2 to cover up the 8, and maybe the Grindstone 3 would have been a little better. Maybe that's a slight value leak, especially because I knew the Clash from the Trounce was like a Macho Grande, and they kind of have a tough time beating an 8. So maybe that was also a value leak. They cast Bones. Luckily, they only hit 4. I'm not sure why they would cast Bones first, because if they hit 5, they would have really missed the agility token they would have got, because they're going to make a might off of this Wild Ride. And then if they made 5, they would have had 6 might that would have made Cast Bones make an agility. So that might have been a sequencing error from our opponent. But we're definitely just blocking with this hand. We're not like saving 3 cards to Cranial Crush for 8 or anything. It's possible I wanted to block with Civic Steps this turn just because they rolled a 6 and they probably weren't going to use all the action, but it's still there for later. And in the matchups where opponents make agility, Civic Steps are kind of easy to use because if they make an agility token on their turn, you can just use Civic Steps on the last attack, and the Quicken and the agility will be like superfluous, so it's not like they get any additional value from the Quicken you give them. Or like redundant is maybe a better word than superfluous. Again, we see a hand that we just sort of want to block with. And if you play Guardian, you recognize these hands pretty easily. Blocking 3 and sending 8 is just generally worse than blocking 12. Even in these game states where we're kind of ahead on life, because we sort of want to not take a bunch of damage here, and because they have a Cast Bones, we probably are just gonna like block as much as possible. Ooh, we even get a Vigor because they reveal Tear Limb from Limb, and they don't deal any additional damage. They must have had like a red behind. So we get to make a Surge and pass. They do have a Tear Limb from Limb though, so this could be another hand where we want to block a bunch. It appears that Tear Limb from Limb was their only resource card, so they just end up pitching it here. And And I'm just going to block 3 because that's all I can really block without giving him armor. And no need to give him armor yet. I think I should block with Prime to fight here. Just in the off chance I want to block like 3 but not 6 on their follow-up. Just so I could grindstone for 3, where now if they don't attack me, it's fine because I just E-strike for 7 and pass. But if they attack me for like, I mean, I guess they're really not attacking for less than 6 that often, right? Maybe they'll attack for 5. If they attack for 5, I just have to block 6. Where if I kept the blue instead of Prime to fight and they attack for 5, I could block with the E-strike and still just send grindstone back for like an extra point. But they do give us 8. There's something to think about here. I'm probably thinking about just like blocking 8, getting my Quicken and E-strike draw a card, but that's almost certainly not the play. There is a chance that I just block 6 plus 2 for 8 and have a Quicken for later. Hoping that they have like an off turn. But because they have Scowling Flesh Bag, like, I'm not sure a go again turn even really does that much. So maybe just blocking 6 is fine, although there is something to be said about them not really having a bunch of on hits. So Swing Big is like one of the only ones they have. But we'll still just save 6 armor for like a Send Packing or a CNC or something. E-strike, go again. Just gonna block with the Test of Strength and see if I hit. And see if I can find a way to keep the blue in the Command and Conquer to have a little disruption. Ooh, and we do draw the card. That's pretty big for us here. Because now we can still block 6 and send CNC if that's something that matters. I'm just gonna block with one of the blues in case they literally like pass the turn here. We can Arsenal like Prime to fight. Doubt that that's gonna happen though. That is what ends up happening. So we sort of get rewarded for keeping the card we'd want in Arsenal over the blue. And we're just gonna make a Surge and Command and Conquer, and then Arsenal this Prime to fight. Which isn't like a great Arsenal card, but maybe at some point in this game we get to throw 9 for sort of for free. Not too sure what their 2 cards left could have been, because they had 1 floating, a Tunic resource, and 2 cards, and they just like passed the turn instead of throwing an attack. So maybe it was just like a 2 3-cost attacks that are red. I don't even know what 3-cost attacks they play. Maybe like the Beat Chest one that makes an agility or something. They just play a Send Packing. What could we do here? Unfortunately, like this can't be a pivot turn, I don't think. I mean, there's a chance we block with Thunderquake and Command and Conquer and then just like throw Golden Sun, but I don't think that's that good. There's a chance I want Golden Sun in Arsenal because we do have a gold and maybe we could like get them to low enough life to where it's eventually lethal. And then like Righteous Cleansing, Command and Conquer them, but then we can only block 3, plus we'd have to block with like armor to overblock to get our Prime to fight back, and our Prime to fight wouldn't do anything, it would just like make a Surge. So I feel like just blocking the Thunderquake and Righteous Cleansing and throwing CNC and then arsenaling Prime to fight is probably the line here. Yeah, because Golden Sun is slightly better in our deck. We're getting fatigued, so we're gonna have to kill them before we die. We only have 17 cards in deck and they have like 25. But that also means our Golden Sun will come back around pretty quick. But they might start to hit the portion of their deck that's just all these like sort of junky blue 5-power attacks, and they might have to start rolling scabs to really get something going. Bear Fangs for 7. I have a Primes to Fight in Arsenal. Well, if I hit this Trounce, this Prime to Fight becomes pretty cracked. So maybe I just block with Chokeslam and Trounce. Really hope to hit the Trounce, and then it draws a blue, and then I could E-Strike Go again into Prime to Fight, but then he has the Scowling Flesh Bag, so I don't know if he would let that happen. But I think just blocking this for 6 is better than like throwing extra cards in front of it. And I do think it's Trounce and Chokeslam. In case we don't hit, we can just E-Strike for 7 and move on. We don't hit. I actually get greedy here and I target myself to reclash. I mean, we get there, but is that like a good play? Maybe because we think he's like late in his deck. It's turn 15, so he's seen most of his deck by now, if not all of it. And his pitch stack shouldn't be like full of swing bigs or whatever. Maybe he's already played all 3 swing bigs. But we did end up hitting, so we can E-Strike Go again and try to get their Scowling Flesh Bag. I don't know, maybe that's too risky. Maybe we just throw Prime to Fight. Yeah, I don't think I want to get Scowling Flesh Bag to like turn off all my value. I think I'd rather make a Surge. It looks like I am just gonna like test my opponent. No, undo. Yeah, just make a Surge and then just throw Prime to Fight. Arsenaling the Golden Sun. There's a world where he might want to just take like 11 here, and then Golden Sun might really get him. We have a ton of armor too, so I actually think after hitting that Trounce, like I'm in a favored spot. Which is really interesting because I've missed like most of my clashes, but just one Trounce at the end game here, and I think we're like in a super good spot here. Because 11's a ton of damage, and if they end up just like blocking 6 and sending 6, we get to just block 6, send Golden Sun, breaking a gold, and then Arsenal a card. And he just ended up blocking 2 with Fiendl's Fighting Spirit. It doesn't even trigger because he had 19. So he takes 9 down to 10. Just to have a Zealous Belting turn, which I think I'm happy to give the Civic Steps up for. I don't think I've seen a Savage Feast all game, so I'm not even like playing around Savage Feast here. There's a chance he just goes like Claw into something, which would be kind of annoying. Maybe I'm not supposed to use Civic Steps here. Just taking the Claw. And then he throws CNC, and this is exactly what we were saving all our armor for. We're just gonna block 6 with all of our armor, make a Surge and Thunderquake for 10. Hope he takes a bunch of it, and then have the Golden Sun to follow up for the kill. Because there's almost no world where he just blocks this for 9 and sends Claw for 3, right? Maybe if he really wants to try to fatigue me, but he's not going to be able to fatigue me, I don't think. Not at this point. Oh yeah, he just goes down to 2, and now I can block 9 and send 10 overpower. And he Blood Rush Bellows, so I get to Balance of Justice. So I can block 12 and then send 10 overpower. Yeah, don't block with the Civic Steps. Save those for later. Block with Clash of Might. We ended up winning. I don't know if I should have blocked with Clash of Might, but he's probably dead anyway because 10 overpower is gonna work, but maybe I just wanted to like grab that value or give him a might that wouldn't have mattered. Because yeah, I just blocked 9. Don't even have to use my armor here. Probably because I want to save my shield for another Golden Sun just in case, but there's no just in case. He has nothing, right? And then we just send 11 overpower, and I believe that should be the game. Yep. So that was that one. We got 14.5 value that game. Not bad numbers against Kayo, actually, to be honest. These numbers usually go way down when we're not winning clashes. I think we won like 2 or 3 clashes. One of them was at the end of the game where it didn't matter. Like 10 overpower was going to kill him, all the same as 11 overpower. But the trounce we hit was actually very, very good. It allowed our prime to fight to be 11 instead of 9. I think we had the cards in hand to cast it, even if we didn't hit the vigor. But the might was really huge. And I guess the vigor allowed us to Arsenal Golden Sun instead of E-Strike, which was what ended up killing our opponent. So yeah, it was sort of an interesting one. I think this is how I want to approach the KO matchup, is just sort of play like a mid-range game and shoot your shots when you can. Not too sure if this KO deck was super optimized. We didn't see like Berserk combo, but I'm not sure if all the KOs are going Berserk. I think Cast Bones is definitely a reasonable alternative. Berserk can be a little high rolly, and if your Berserk whiffs, it kind of sucks, but your Cast Bones almost never whiffs. It's almost just like a 1-card 5 or 6. I guess when it's a 1-card 6, it's even like more than a 1-card 6 because the agility itself is worth like upwards of more, like 6 more. So yeah, definitely wanted to bring you guys a video. I know I haven't really posted much this week, but definitely looking to keep these videos coming, keep them flowing. I definitely am playing a bunch of games and recording a bunch of games, so I got like a backlog of games that I could show. Thank you so much for watching, really appreciate it. If you made it this far, why don't you comment down below what matchup you would like to see the most, and the one that gets the most responses will be the first video I post next Monday, or whenever I post, maybe Monday, Tuesday, whenever I post my first video next week. Probably won't be able to get it for tomorrow just in case I don't find the matchup or don't have one recorded. But yeah, I'd love to hear what you guys would like to see and bring that to you and just sort of talk you through my turn-by-turn thought process. To anyone going to Hartford this weekend, good luck. Would really love to see our golden boy on stream on Sunday, so someone make that happen. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day and good luck.